Alpine Cup that year, and his touring car career really started with BMW in '86 when he drove one of those superb 635 BMWs. But still, it's the BMW in front, the two Nissans giving fine chase behind. Right, telling me yesterday that he had big oversteer problems on his Mondeo, which he just couldn't dial out of the car. He really was spectacular, the former truck racer, because he knew how to hang the tail out, having raced trucks. Pirro just in the middle of our picture there, and out of it now. Emanuele Pirro in a brand new car for this weekend's race, running with a sequential gearbox. Well, you see the gap, Hager to Winkelhock, 3.3. And again, Boutsen having Bergstaller climbing all over him. And Bergstaller has Manfred, I should say Joachim Winkelhock, just a mention there of Manfred Winkelhock, the superb Porsche driver who was killed some years ago. Joachim's older brother. In fact, there's been 3 racing Winkelhock brothers. 8 laps completed. This is the 9th. There is Boutsen holding up the 2 BMWs, and I think I saw Winkelhock in front of Bergstaller then. To check that out. And Ivan Capelli just really holding station, hasn't had a major attempt at getting by Alfred Hager. Michael Bartel's hanging on extremely well. And then Johnny Cecotto, the only non-Audi winner so far this season in this new series, in its first year. Series sponsored by the German Telekom's mobile phone division. So Alfred Hager from pole position has led throughout the 9 laps we've had so far, coming under enormous pressure here from Nissan. And the 2 Nissans so close together. Michael Bartel's just thinking about trying to get past his illustrious teammate. There he goes to the inside. They are side by side. Michael Bartels with the red stripes on his car takes 2nd place. Bartels now leads Capelli, and can Bartels do anything about Alfred Hager? Well, that manoeuvre has allowed Hager to pull out to something in the region of 4 car lengths. It's as little as that, really. Hager, Bartels, Capelli, Cecotto, Pirro. Johnny Cecotto, the former motorcycle racer. Born of Italian parents in Venezuela, now lives back in Italy. As we see that replayed, Michael Bartels put himself in the ideal position. You see the cars, plenty of air between them, and then Capelli just drops back. Perhaps Capelli has got a little bit of tyre problems. Perhaps he's playing a waiting game. Thierry Boutsen still in 6th place in front of Bergstaller and Winkelhock. And still these 7 cars at the front of this race, very close together indeed. Capelli still with the fastest lap recorded on the 3rd tour at 1:56.86. About a second slower, just over a second slower than the pole position time. There is Johnny Cecotto. Thierry Boutsen, the other blue car there, the Mondeo. As I said before, Cecotto looking to find a way past Capelli. Now he's going for the outside, and can Capelli have an answer for that? Yes, Capelli does. Keeps Cecotto back. So Nissan still second and third. They've switched over between the pair of them, but still the Nissan's second and third, the best showing of the Japanese manufacturer so far in the series, with these Janspeed built cars, which are run by Brixia Motorsport, Scuderia Italia, who of course have been racing in Formula One until this season, when they were basically taken over by Minardi. An interview there with the competition chief of Nissan in Europe, that's Hans Chan, who has raced Nissans himself in the past, but he'll be delighted with this performance. Nissan, of course, also racing in the British Championship with Keith O'Dore. Jan O'Dore, of course, being the boss of Janspeed, who have developed these cars on behalf of the Japanese factory. Nissan, of course, for many years have been very strong in rallying. They've switched most of their attention now to racing, and particularly this 2-litre touring car cup, and indeed other versions of it around the continent of Europe. There is Emanuele Pirro with the Audi, still keeping touch. Emanuele Pirro currently lying in second place in the championship, and these points could be valuable later in the series, with Frank Biela right down in 10th place and only scheduled to get just a single point. On the screen there was Alex Bergstaller, and that was the back marker there. It looks as if he's spun off in the yellow BMW, Michael Hagert. And no, it looks as if the engine's blown up. I think don't need to be an expert to sort that one out. So smoke coming from Hagert's yellow BMW, out of the race. But meanwhile, just going through our shot, still leading here, Alfred Hager. They are on lap number 12. The Nissan still giving chase, quite a lot of sliding around in that chicane. And we'll take a short break. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back with the news that there has been no change at the front. Alfred Hager is still leading, is still coming under a lot of pressure from the Nissans, while Thierry Boutsen, just in our picture now, is coming under pressure from Joachim Winkelhock and Alex Bergstaller in the two BMWs. Bergstaller with the blue mirrors there, in fact, lying in 7th place. Winkelhock is 8th, and the second of the Mondeos, Marcus Osterreich, with that big oversteer problem, currently in 9th position. At the front, however, still Alfred Hager. Last time past the start-finish line, he had opened up the gap to just over 1 second. Hager lapping at 1:57.74, has very nearly had a change there between Bergstaller and Winkelhock. So Smoking Joe, when we spoke to him yesterday, confident of a very good result. He definitely won't be happy lying there in 8th position. And Frank Biela, another man, will be particularly unhappy with 10th place, although he still leads the championship and is likely to do so after this round. His lead will definitely be eroded. How much closer can you get to Thierry Boutsen than that? Boutsen. And Thierry Boutsen having to watch in his mirrors all the time for those two BMWs as, oh, an audacious move down the inside, which didn't quite work for Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe still trying to get past the youngster Bergstaller. And locking up of brakes there for Bergstaller. Well, this is a tremendous scrap there for 6th, 7th and 8th. Just again catching a glimpse of Emmanuel Pirot in 5th place. And looks as if another challenge just as we cut away from it there. And Alfred Hager has increased his lead to 1.22 seconds. Well, this will be a famous win for the good Alfred if he pulls this off. Well, Bergstaller just looking down the outside of Thierry Boutsen, but Boutsen knows a thing or two with something in the region of 20 years of racing behind him. Man that came up through Formula Ford and Formula 3 into Formula 3000, and then an illustrious career, which of course included 3 Grand Prix victories with Williams. Thierry Boutsen flew here this weekend in his own Cessna Citation jet. Loves flying. Says it's a real relaxation from racing. And also told me last night how much he's enjoying life after Formula One. More time to spend with his wife Patricia and their family. Of course, recently become a father for a 2nd time. And Thierry's got a few things to prove, to be frank. At Zandvoort, made an unenforced and rather silly mistake and T-boned Hans Stuck off the racetrack. And just to remind you, Stuck not racing here due to family illness. We wish Hans well with his family. We don't know the exact details. He's keeping that private. But obviously it's serious, or Hans would have been racing here this weekend. So there is Boutsen, running in 6th spot. Meanwhile, that's the leader from the drop of the Austrian flag, or I should say the turn of the lights to green. Alfred Hager has led. The lead now back to just under 1 second. And you see Ivan Capelli coming under a lot of pressure from Johnny Cecotto there. Johnny Cecotto trying for the inside line, not quite making it. And also still Emanuele Pirot very much in the heart of the action there. And different lines up the hill. And taking the inside line into the chicane, and oh, off goes Ivan Capelli, and that will almost certainly get a penalty. Capelli, in fact, because he took the shortcut, has managed to keep that position. Only 2 laps to go. I suspect that Capelli will get a 10-second penalty for that. We'll have to wait and see. But Capelli, under enormous pressure there from Emanuele Pirot and from Johnny Cecotto, made that mistake. Hager, now the lead back to 1.2 seconds. Bartels has pulled away, of course, from Capelli. And now Capelli has dropped behind his 2 pursuers. So Capelli drops back to 5th place, but I suspect he'll finish up in the charts about 8th. Let's look at it. Suddenly decided he couldn't make it. Not quite sure what happened there. But he went, chose the gap between the tyre walls and came back on in front of Johnny Cecotto. So the new order: Hager, Bartels, Cecotto, Pirot. But I suspect when it's all done and dusted, it will be Boutsen and Bergstaller, and that Ivan Capelli will drop down to about 7th or 8th place. Just looking down at the monitor, the timing monitor I have here, and if they do put on a 10-second penalty, in fact Capelli will be 10th. Going now onto the final lap. And it has to be said that Alfred Hager has driven a copybook race. Hager has now increased his lead. You don't see him on the screen anymore. That's because the lead is now 2.2 seconds. So Alfred Hager looking really good on this final lap of the majestic Oostenrijkring. And there's a problem, and that's Dieter Quester. Dieter Quester either with a puncture or a rear suspension failure. Puncture, I suspect. Dieter Quester, who is running in 14th place now, out of the wrecking, but enjoying racing a BMW again. Last week he was at Silverstone racing a historic BMW in the FIA Historic Touring Car Cup. This weekend in a modern BMW, Dieter Quester, who's given some 10 years of his life to BMW, now over 50. But let's talk about the man who looks as if he's going to take this race to win his first round of the Touring Car Cup, but the second victory for a BMW in the series to make it Audi 3, BMW 2. The number 11 car, the Fenerbahce car of Alfred Hager, and he'll be absolutely delighted with this. Alfred, a man who's overcome quite a bad stutter to give some very good interviews these days. Hager now just running towards the flag. The checkered flag is indeed waiting. He's into my sight now. He puts the lights on to acknowledge this victory. And Alfred Hager wins the 5th round of the German Touring Car Cup here at the majestic Oostenrijkring. A copybook drive. He led from beginning to end off the pole position. You cannot do better than that. So Alfred Hager is the winner. The rest of the field coming home. Michael Bartels takes second place. Johnny Cecotto is third for BMW. We'll have to wait and see what the stewards decide about Capelli, but definitely fourth is Emanuele Pirro for Audi. The championship leader, Frank Bieler, looks as if he's going to finish actually down in 10th place for just 1 point. Just go through the positions again. Hager, the winner from Bartels, Cecotto, Pirro, Capelli, currently shown in 5th spot. I think he'll be demoted. That would put Manfred, I should said it again, my apologies, Joachim Winkelhock into 5th place. Alex Bergstaller to 6th, Thierry Boutsen 7th, Marcus Oostenrijk into 8th, Frank Bieler into 9th. There the championship standings. Frank Bieler still leading, just got that 1 point here today. He's up to 76th. Emanuele Pirro moved up to 64. Johnny Cecotto in 3rd place with 47. Alfred Hager, after that fine win, moves up to 4th spot overall with 41. And Hans-Joachim Stuck, not racing today, still in 5th place with 29 points. From there, the remaining positions, Oostenrijk lying now in 6th place in the championship. Bartels 7th. He's moved up a lot after an excellent day for Nissan here at the Zeltweg circuit. As we leave